I've also signed my part in the divorce papers so that I can divorce you anytime. I can live without you. Do you understand? That's enough.
After he spent all my money for his own selfish desires, I swore to myself that I would ruin his social life. My name is Tracy, and I turned 35 years old this year. Recently, my life has finally settled down and peaceful days have returned. It all started when I became friends with a certain person I worked with at the same company. That person was Kevin, who later became my husband. Kevin and I were close enough to drink together even after everyone else had left the company drinking party. That day, too, after the company drinking party was over, the two of us were having an after party and we asked each other who we like. We got excited talking about things like that, and by the time we realized it, the last train had already gone. By the way, I was interested in him at the time, and he had apparently been interested in me for a long time, so we disappeared into the night town together since there was no last train available. We spent the night together and started dating. I had just turned 30 at the time and was thinking that I wanted to get married soon. So I said to him, "It is me being selfish, but if we're going to date at this age, please date me with marriage in mind."
Of course, I'm glad as that's the plan, but I'm kinda lame to be proposed to, aren't I?
We said it laughing at each other. Since we started dating, we went out for drinks together after work and went on trips using paid leave, and so on. Then one night, he made a reservation at a restaurant with a slightly luxurious night view. After finishing the meal, he took out a ring and proposed to me. I kind of guessed it, but I was very happy. At a later date, after we had both families meet and report to people at work, we got married a month later. We were blessed by everyone at work, and both my parents and I cried and were very happy at the same time. After we got married, we rented the house and lived there together, but my parents suggested that they would support us in having a brand new house built. When I asked where the money came from, they said that they had been saving money for me since I was a child for the future. Then they apparently had planned to use that money for the house to be built when I got married. I also wanted my own house in the future, so I was very happy. From then on, I carefully chose the interior and exterior so that I wouldn't regret it, and when I made up my mind, I asked my parents to get it done. Then, 2 years after Kevin and I got married, he told me,
I want to quit my job and start my own business. What do you think about it, Tracy? This is not just my problem.
"I'm not going to quit my job, but if you want to start your own business, I'll support you, and of course I'll help because we are a couple." I was a little anxious about it, but he said we could live with the in-laws if we became unable to make a living. Then, as he had my permission and the peace of mind of being able to live with his parents, he soon quit his job and became foreign capital self-employed. After he started his own business, he made a profit in the first year, but as the second and third years went on, his business started to be in the red. Then after all, we couldn't cover our living expenses with just my income, so I made a suggestion to him. "We should ask my parents to get a new house built because we cannot make ends meet with your income and my income, I'm sorry, but then we won't have to pay rent. I've already decided on the interior to a certain extent. It will take 1 to 3 months until the house is built if I ask them now, but in the meantime, you see, your mom told us before that we could go back to their house, so why don't you talk to them?" However, he wasn't willing to do that, saying,
I've been thinking about asking for a new house for a long time. But it's not a good idea to go back to their house, because I'm the one who decided to start my own business and I can't just go back there so openly. Besides, my sister is apparently at their house now.
I was disgusted that he still couldn't let go of his vanity during a situation like this. I mean, he easily said yes to the new house, though. Then the next day, for some reason, he was a complete change from yesterday and began to talk like this.
We're going to live at my parents' house from this weekend, so we'll have to pack our stuff and make an arrangement to leave this house.
It was so out of the blue, so I asked him what happened. Then he apparently called his mom after I went to bed to see if we could move in with them for a while. Then she allowed us, apparently. So I also asked my parents about the new house, and we prepared to move in with my in-law. From what my husband told me, they said they would welcome us generously, so I decided to take their word for it until the new house was built. At the time, I had no idea that this was the beginning of hell. After completing the procedure to cancel the contract for the current house, we headed to my in-laws' house. However, when we arrived at their house, the situation was strange. My husband said they would welcome us generously, but I felt they had a different vibe. For some reason, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were staring at us. I felt a bit uneasy and asked them both, did I do something wrong? Is it still bothering you? Then they gave me a cold shoulder. It was a short time, but a new life began in an awkward tension. Living with my in-law was really tough. I was hated by my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, and they said something sarcastic every time something happened. When I was relaxing at home on my day off, my mother-in-law said,
"You were able to make a living thanks to my son's earnings, but you are really laid back, aren't you?"
What are you talking about, Mom? I earn more than Kevin. Then my mother-in-law and sister-in-law said,
"Why do you tell a lie like that? He said that you guys don't have enough money because of you."
"How can you tell such a lie? I don't think you can complain, and you're lucky enough that we let you stay here."
They somehow thought that I don't have money, so I asked my husband why they think that way. Apparently, he said to them,
"We can't make ends meet as Tracy earns less. I'm trying hard, but I can't do it anymore."
This explains why the two of them stared at me when I arrived at their house. I asked him why he told them such a lie.
"Look, I didn't want to worry my mom and sis, and it would be lame to tell them that I failed when I decided to run my own business on my own, wouldn't it?"
What the heck? I understand he doesn't want to make them worry, but his excuse of saying it's lame doesn't make sense. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law apparently think that all the living expenses we pay to them now also come out of my husband's wallets. So it all makes sense that they are sarcastic and keep away from me when I am at home relaxing. They also have heard that the new house will be built with his money apparently, and they are ready to move in together when it's built. I don't understand this either. My parents are the ones who are paying for the new house. I was getting more and more confused, which drove me crazy. Neither of them has any money, as their mother-in-law retired and is now living on a pension, and their sister-in-law is an absolute NEET after she quit her job. So they put the bite on me as they think he has money.
"Tracy, I heard that you are in charge of his money. I'm going out with friends soon. Can you lend me $337?
It's impossible for me to suddenly lend you $337.
You're so stingy, aren't you?"
Then my sister-in-law joined, saying,
"Yeah, she is. You're being fed by Kevin, aren't you?"
It's all the money I earned, so why do I have to be told this? I couldn't stand it from the bottom of my heart. Then my husband joined the conversation and said,
"It's my money, so don't be stingy, okay? It's not a problem at all, Mom."
"Really? Thanks as usual. When compared to that, you don't know how to relax, do you, Tracy?"
"Kevin, don't you have any for your sister? I want to buy something too, and want about $205.
"Okay. You have $205 in your wallet, don't you, Tracy? Give it to her quickly."
As vain as ever, he forced me to hand them over. On top of that, it seems he can't stop lying anymore, saying,
"You're living a luxurious life like this thanks to me."
I couldn't take it anymore, so I had a chat with him. Stop showing off. I can't stand it anymore. At least, make it look like you borrowed it from me and write an IOU.
Lately your stingy attitude gets in people's hair. IOU? I'll write it down for you. It's just a piece of paper, so it doesn't mean anything. You miss the money that much?
Don't say things that don't make sense, like miss money. How much of my salary do you think you've spent?
What? If you're going to go that far, do you want a divorce? I've even signed my part of the papers so that I can divorce you at any time. I can live without you. Do you understand? That's enough? Look, I wrote you an IOU. You're making too much fuss just because I spent only $3,375 of your bonus.
When he said this, he threw the IOU at me, showing divorce papers, as if to say it was my fault. He doesn't show any signs of remorse at all. He said only $3,375, but we've only been at my in-laws for about a month. They spent my summer bonus. I could have just divorced him, but I decided to stay. Because my mother-in-law and sister-in-law still think I've been able to live on my husband's money. I wanted them to go to hell after showing the reality of the fact that my husband is spending my money as if it was his own. Then I started preparing for my revenge. First, I looked for the divorce papers that my husband had signed. Surprisingly, I found it easily. I signed my part and registered it to the city council and sneakily completed the divorce. Next, I told my husband that the new house would be completed soon and made him start preparing to move into the new house. The completion date I gave him at that time was of course a lie. It's already finished. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law seemed to be very happy with the new house. I tried my best to hold my laughter back when I saw my husband with a smug look, as if to say it was all thanks to him. He didn't even know that I was already divorced from him. I can't wait to see what kind of expressions those three jerks will have on their faces to accept this reality later on. I asked my father to put the house under his name, because if it was built under my name, it would be a problem with property division when I got divorced. My father informed me that the new house was completed, so I gradually moved my belongings into the new house. After I finished moving the last of them, I left my in-laws' house without saying a word. The new house is very comfortable, and both the interior and exterior are perfect as expected. I got so excited and spent the whole day inside the house while thinking that the smell of a new house is really nice. Then I received a phone call from my ex-husband at night.
Hey, whereabouts are you now?
Why do I have to tell you that?
Don't be ridiculous. There's no your stuff left, like your bank book or anything.
That's my stuff, so it's none of your business. You should thank me for the divorce papers you had signed, because I signed them and registered. That's about it. We're no longer related as we're divorced. Bye now.
Hey, what do you mean? I don't accept that. Hey.
I hung up while listening to his voice. I rejected the call from him because he kept ringing. Then I slept well in my new home that day. Since then, life in the new house was very comfortable, and I've been having fresh and pleasant mornings every day. I was grateful that my parents had saved money for me and helped me with that whole mess, so I invited them to my house for a party that day. My mother and I cooked together in the built-in kitchen. When the food was ready and the three of us were just about to make a toast, the intercom rang. I can guess who has come. When I looked at the intercom image, it was a trio of my ex-husband, ex-mother-in-law, and ex-sister-in-law. How did you find this place?
You didn't answer the phone, so I followed you after work and found that your new house is all ready. From today onwards, we'll be living here together. Anyway, unlock the door.
Then, my ex-mother-in-law showed up.
Listen. This house was built with Kevin's money. It doesn't belong to you. You're even a wife who has no money. You should stop doing this. Now unlock the door quickly.
Well, I'll now let you know, first of all, the money I was giving you guys was money I earned. That idiot over there was trying to show off and saying, thanks to him, but it was all my money. I have the proof here as an IOU. Besides, I'm already divorced, so we're no longer related. Then, my ex-husband turned up with a smug look.
Hey, I'll admit that we're divorced. And I'll admit that you paid for all the money so far, including the money for this house. But you know what? This house was built with your money during the marriage. So when we get divorced, I get half of the money you paid to build this house as part of the property division. If you don't want to leave this house, pay it off now. I guess you tried to trick me, but think before you act.
Well, this house is under my parents' name, and it was built with their money. I don't know what made you come across that idea, but the house built with their money won't be reflected in the property division when I divorce. Don't you know that? And thank you for admitting everything with a smug look. Now I'm going to hire a lawyer and claim the IOU and also all my money you've spent without permission. Then, my ex-husband fell to his knees on the spot, voiceless. After that, my ex-husband, ex-mother-in-law, and ex-sister-in-law became discouraged, making a fuss outside, so I called the police, explained the situation, and had them taken away before it became a nuisance to the neighborhood. As all the evidence was available on the intercom with the recording, I wasn't interviewed in detail and wasn't asked to come to the police station, so I went back inside the house to carry on the party. I then hired a lawyer to settle the matter with my ex-husband. The details were to agree to pay the amount owed and to agree to stay away. If he turns up in front of me again, he will be arrested immediately. Immediate arrest was due to the fact that the way he identified my new home was considered stalking. A stay-away order against the people in my ex-family was also issued. I heard through the grapevine that my ex-husband has not been able to run his business well since then, and that all he has is increased debt. After divorcing me, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law no longer had access to the money they always asked me for, and their lives became increasingly difficult. Eventually, they sold their family home and started living in a shabby apartment. I feel like they are really getting what they deserve. I, on the other hand, invited my parents to live with me in my new home, and the three of us are enjoying our new life together. I want to continue to live happily with my family, taking care of my parents well. How did you like this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.